Welcome back to Switch to Linux with a fun live in the middle of kind of a thunderstorm. I was finally able to open up the back door. If it starts raining heavy again, I got to really quick shut it. So just an FYI, because I don't want to get a lot of water coming in, even though the back's mostly waterproof. We got some ambulances going on in the background. We've had some thunderstorms come through, and internet is... Okay, well, the internet has stabilized. I was a little worried because the internet dropped low in the midst of the crazy storm, but that has seemed to have resolved itself. And let's see. Let's just go ahead and do a live stream, chat about elementary. And we are also in a heat wave. It's actually cooler than I thought it'd be. It's only 32°C right now. And kitties are doing just fine. I got one on either side of me here, and so they're enjoying it. And I just kind of parked in the middle of shade all day, so I do kind of have to watch the power. Right now, the refrigerator's actually kind of losing the battle with the heat. It's actually jumped up to 41, which is odd. Batteries are doing okay. We're holding at 13.2. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get this guy going. And actually, I should turn off that bank of lights because I don't need it right now. Anyway, how is everybody doing today? Having a look at a comment. Nietzsche's Power. Install Pantheon tweaks to solve theming inconsistency problems, including is a setting to force all apps to follow Elementary's default light and dark theme. Shadow says hyped. Linux Diary says hopefully it goes okay. Hopefully it does. Inner Creature Morph, greetings. Michelangelo says hello, greetings. Vlad, shut out from Boyle Heights, Cali. Uh-oh. You on fire down there? Thunderstorm. Sounds comfy. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the thunderstorms at all. I am a little concerned where I'm parking because this is, since it's a very shaded place, if heavy wind comes by, possibility of trees falling. Happened to my other car once. I got a branch, not a tree, but a branch. And I was a little concerned about that. I thought about moving to an open spot for the thunderstorm, but I looked around like, I think I'll be okay. Ultimately, it will stay okay for things, but could change. We look at the new Brave search engine. I already looked at the new Brave search engine a couple weeks ago. The day it was released, I did a video on that. Cappy, how's it going there? Is it Cappy? I don't know. K3PPI. Hi. Does it let you minimize windows now? Of course not. It's elementary. What do you want? Something good? Not tip my hand quite yet, but I just got home from work. Glad to see I was able to catch the stream. Yeah, absolutely. Are we actually focused too? Let me make sure. I feel like I'm out of focus. There we go. That's a little better. I also feel a little dark too. Let me up my brightness a little bit. There we are. All right. Now I don't feel quite so dark. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. That's better. Being near a lot of trees means lightning probably won't hit you. That is correct. Yes. Scattered thunderstorms there as well. Yeah, this is the first one. They were calling for maybe a little bit, and then they weren't calling for any at all. And then I hear thunder, so I check the weather again. It's like, oh, now they're calling for thunderstorms again, which is perfect. I absolutely want the thunderstorms right now because it was about 90 degrees. Hold on. Kitty wants up there. Hold on. There you are. And so, yeah, it was like pushing around 90 today with a heat wave and a super high humidity. So heat index up to around 104. So that's why I parked in the shade. Thunderstorm actually cooled it down. The van actually dropped in temperature a little bit, which is kind of nice. Howdy, Luis. How's it going there? I just got word that our Bible study was canceled. Forecast looks sketchy. So that might mean I can actually spend a little bit more time looking over some of the van footage and putting some stuff together. I need to get some more videos out on what the van is. And once we're ready to do that, then I will give you guys a tour, and we'll do the general tour on the van channel, and we will do the tech tour on Switch to Linux. But with that, let me go ahead and close that down there, and we'll get into our discussion on Elementary OS 6. Uh-oh. OBS is doing something weird. Give me a second. Okay, I think we're back. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, another version of Elementary OS has dropped, and I wanted to go ahead and have a look at it. If you follow my channel, I've taken this controversial stance on Elementary OS that I don't think it smells as wonderful as Tim Cook's smelly turds. However, I have also given it enough real grace to really honestly look at it and have an assessment. And this version here, there are a lot of really good things, but I still think that for the basic user, Elementary OS is so far from the mark to make it not really a distribution I can really recommend. And we'll get into why that is in a moment before you send me all your hate comments as to why I am so hateful towards the distribution. Before we do that, let's go have a look at their release notes. This is called Odin, and yes, to quote Hulk, puny god. There's a lot of really good improvements. They are coming a long way, but there's one thing that they need to change for me to look at and say, okay, this is something we can probably recommend. We're not going to flip through everything. This is a lengthy post. You can read it yourself. It's just on the blog page for Elementary. They talk about the three focuses: empowering you to be in control and to express yourself. Well, in the past, they've said, no, we're not, you can't express yourself. You have to do exactly what we want. But now you actually do have the option to do light theme, dark themes, and a accent color. So yes, now you can indeed express yourself. Bingo. In control. This mostly is the apps. The apps, everything is now Flatpak and Sandbox. That is a positive and a negative, and we will get into that in a bit. But they have everything sandboxes in isolation by default, and that is absolutely the way a Flatpak-based distro should go. So they completely get the A+ on that. Having new features, I disagree that they're continuing to innovate with new features because they still feel so far behind with everything else. Like Mail Client only supports a few protocols and not much more than that. They at least have some online accounts through only CalDAV and IMAP and nothing else. This is not exactly innovative with new features unless you think that you're the only thing that exists, because it lags behind a lot of other distributions. Making Elementary OS easier to get and more inclusive. I'm not sure what they mean by the inclusive portion, easier to get. Okay, what they're getting at is they are introduced a new installer, which the Pop! OS installer is based on. Of course, a lot of things in Pop! OS are borrowed from the Elementary team, and the installer is much better. As far as easier to get and download, no, it's still confusing. It still looks like you have to pay money for it. And I absolutely would encourage you, if you are using it on your regular basis, please support the developers and give them something if you are downloading. They are doing a good job for what they have. I just tend to disagree with some of their directives, so I'm not going to be paying them for it, but I will definitely review it. But if you are using the distribution, you should be paying those developers to make it better and providing some feedback into the community. So this will be my outsiders express into the community. So here they kind of go into it, the theming, and we're going to go through this really quickly because I'm going to just show you this in reality. Sandboxes, this is the new applications thing, very much like an Apple. Of course, they're following their line of basically duplicating Apple and everything that Apple does. Multi-touch gestures for people using trackpads, laptops, and things. This is going to be your biggest selling point to use Elementary OS, is because they now have a lot of features and swipes and things that are just absolutely amazingly good. I hate laptops and trackpads. I don't use these features. To me, this is, I don't even care. Okay, but it is a significant thing for people that are on laptops and use trackpads. So when I use a laptop, I put a mouse in because trackpads suck. Hashtag trackpads suck. Notifications are greatly improved, basically bringing notification menu in line with, every other distribution. We have a do not disturb mode, which has been there, I think, since the last version. Everything does look nicer and pops out more. We have a new task tool. Now, some of the things like the task tool, the calendars, the mail apps, these will integrate into the online account systems now. That is a new feature. So if you're using online accounts, you can actually tie those types of items into this, although it's still fairly limited limited. And they do have a Linux vendor firmware service. So if you would like your vendor to automatically install their malware, like happened with Dell not too long ago, then they have the option to have Star Labs, Dell, Lenovo, HP, Intel, Logitech, Wacom, etc. All these types of things to do firmware updates. You can do that, and that's kind of tongue in cheek. There's times that running these firmware updates are actually good. Again, this is something else Pop! OS does, so some overlap with that. App updates, they do have the new dark theme, of course, so their apps have been brought into the dark theme updates and having a few other features. Here is they're showing us different colors, which are different calendars based on the online events. You can choose which camera is being used now by the camera app. How amazing is that? And then, again, the biggest change on the applications is that Flatpaks are how things are distributed. Also, they did change the way the file manager works so that it is single click through folders, but double click to open files. I guess that, to me, that sounds like it should take some getting used to. But we'll leave it at that. Still can't put anything up into the system tray, but they did do a lot of changes. The volume indicator, for example, shows you all of the different sources. This is a huge improvement. So definitely there are a lot of things in this that are really good and worth looking at. So that is, that's that. So let's go ahead and have a look first at the new installer. Silence for editing purposes. Is it booting? Okay, it is. So here we have the option to try or install, check for defects, and boot from the first hard disk. So hopefully we'll bypass the disk check. We don't need to do that. Oh, never mind. It's doing the disk check anyway. This may take some time. It won't take more than a few minutes here. I really wish there was an option to bypass this. This is like the third time I've installed this. I don't need it to check the distribution again. It works. Trust me. All right. Getting there. If you just jumped on, silence so that we can let the distribution go. All right, so here we are. We have landed on the new installer. We start by just selecting our language, our location, and keyboard layout. Very simple. Now, from here, we can try demo mode, which just goes into the live key. We can do something custom, create, resize, manage partitions manually, those types of things. The default easiest option is erase disk and install. So click on this. You choose what your disk is. You have a warning here. You're going to erase and install. And then now you have the option of choose a password for the full disk encryption or don't encrypt the disk. If I go on beyond here, then we're going to actually make changes to the disk, and I don't want to do that. Everything from here, it's just click that button, move on, and it installs, and when you're done, you reboot it. Everything on this installer is now an OEM install, which is absolutely the best way to do it. So we're not going to go on here. Let's go ahead and have a look at what it looks like when you first install it. Okay, so while that's doing that, we're going to check into our comments, and then we will jump on over to that. So let's see, where are we at? All right. All right, let's see here. Where were we? Where are you at? Sounds like in my area. I am in State College, Pennsylvania. Technically, I'm in a park in State College, Pennsylvania. Let's see. Temps. Northern Minnesota just broke 74-degree mark. Right now we are 32°C in the van. It's supposed to, like, it was around 90 today, and then it dropped down probably to low 70s for the duration of the storm, and then it's going to jump right back up again according to the weather, so we'll see. Repost, install Pantheon tweaks to solve theming inconsistencies. All right. Looking to run this if they're not so locked down. Hold on. We're getting there. It's horrid. Humidity. Let's see. We have many strong ties to Ubuntu. I don't care about the strong ties to Ubuntu. That's fine. Openness is why I run Manjaro. Just had to get out of the shower and was cleaning up after the puppy dog. Barely caught this one. Yep. Great OS. They really shoot themselves in the foot. They're very exclusive to themselves, much like GNOME. Yeah. It's like they actively work against it. They actively work against changes and tweaks in the system. It should be a little bit more clear that you can get it free, but absolutely need to keep taking donations. If they want to charge for a premium, I have no issues with that. Yeah. Elementary OS Flatpaks, yes. App images, no. GNOME 2.0 is easier to work with. Just love Apple. Hate their business practices. Yep. I don't know. I can't even get behind Apple at all. I'm not a huge fan of their products either. Child in the past, agree. All the stubbornness killed elementary in my eyes. Pantheon is super limited, much like GNOME based. Track points, trackpads. All right. Been messing with elementary OS 6 all night. I can't make it work. Something wrong with ISOs on some computer. ISONs? Yeah. App images are great for some software. Not much in others. Strongly consider Cinnamon or KDE build or even XFCE Lite. Elementary is designed for schools, not private home use. Well, you know, they don't seem to really have any of that in marketing type stuff. Hello, Dan. Greetings. But File Roller missed out the dark theme. Let's see. Missed out on the dark theme. Yep. I use Mate on my main system. Schools should use KDE-based DE since its most scientific software is written in Qt. Yeah, that'd be a good argument. Yugi Master comes around, tell him to contact me. I'm going to do an interview on his channel soon. All right, if I see him. String didn't see that for me. Then again, using Ventoy, so it tends to skip things. Got a mic, need a good webcam. Love to interview Tom myself. Love the interview ideas. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're looking for something cheap, just do a Logitech C920 or 922. They're pretty cheap and good enough. 23 is 74. Yeah, it's 32 here, though, so it's 32. Okay. My earlier message, but using Ventoy for me skips the first rundowns. Yes. Easier for everyone. Don't expect anyone. Why don't you go Debian stable? You get longer support with it. Because it also has a lot more compatibility issues with a lot of things that I need to use. All right, so before I jump on to the next part, guys, weekly news roundup this week. We either need to do the stream earlier or I need to pre-record it and premiere it. I will not be able to be available at the 9 o'clock spot, which is usual. So let me know in the comments. Should we pre-record it or should we record the stream earlier? I'm thinking like either 3 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock, somewhere between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock would work for me probably. Let me know in the comments there what we should do with that stream. Let's see. OBS is still teetering a little bit, so just an FYI for that. And we're going to go ahead and record a second part of the video. Let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, so what we're doing now is this is a elementary OS that was installed but never booted. So this is what the OEM setup is going to look like. We're going to have a look at a few things in here because the biggest complaint we're going to be able to see from this before you make any adjustments and tweaks. So here we have booted in. It is booting our first time, and you can see once again we select the language. So even if you're installing this for somebody else, then the language gets selected not just on the installer, but also the language is going to get selected on by the user themselves. So They do let us choose whatever password we want, even if it's short and not super secure, because my super secure password that's definitely not 123 is absolutely what I want to use for this test system. It will let us use it. It just gives us the warning, but everything is good. Hit the finish setup button, and then it's going to boot elementary the first time. I need to enter my super secret password and then log on in. And then it's going to grant us with a just a little tour. So on our tour, you can skip all here if you know what you're doing, or you can walk through the individual tour. And so here we have a basics guide, community support, how to get involved. Here's your look. You can choose the light theme or the dark theme. You can choose your accent colors. This one here, I believe, is going to actually choose your coloration of your accent based on the primary color in your wallpaper. So that's what you have there. We're going to go with the dark and the yellowish because, hey, this is Switch to Linux. We can do that. So here are the night light. You can turn this on, and this will give you a schedule where you can do softer lighting at night. I think this is a bunch of nonsense. In fact, scientific articles also confirm this is nonsense. I think this is stupid. But for those compelled by it or want it, you can do that. You can click on this. You can set it to go based on your IP address, sunlight, sunset, sunrise, based upon your location, based on your IP address, or you can set specific times or do other things like that. You can delete older files, trash files, and then here is the online account option. And again, the online account option is very limited consider what there is. We have IMAP and we have CalDAV. So that's what we have. Next option, we have some apps. We're going to look at the App Center in a bit. And then here you have ready to go. So we'll go ahead and get started. Now, again, just some of the basic changes over here. We have our sound settings. All of your audio inputs will appear down there if we had more of them there. So you can see that that setting is good. Notification box. We have a do not disturb mode. It does look a lot nicer. And as we said, the apps that are built in, specifically curated for Pop! OS, they all look really good. They look like they're built in for the system. And overall, out of the box, it looks pretty good, albeit very limited. There's no word processors. There's no ISO burning tools. There's a lot of things that feel as though they are missing. Now, when you come into here, the greatest new thing that we have here is inside of your applications, we have a permissions tab. This will give us all of the applications that are installed and what they have access to. So you can really do a good job of isolating the applications based upon your own preferences and whatnot. Everything else in here is fairly similar to how it's been in the past. We're not going to spend the time looking at what has changed in each one of the major applications. What I want to focus on here is why I think that this distribution is extraordinarily hyped. So the biggest challenge that they have is it feels like it's incomplete, even if you go into the App Center and would like to install something like, I don't know, maybe a word processor. We have code. That's it. Having a look inside of here, you can click on your, no, I don't want mixer. I just want to go accessories. So under accessories, there are a number of different things. We have Badger, remind yourself not to sit and stare at the screen so long. We have, roll the dice. We have a palette picker. Not a whole ton of stuff there. Under audio, we have music. Under communication, we have Iridium and the mail client. Under development, we have code, feedback, the hero that Gotham needs right now. Okay. Well, that's a very useful thing to have instead of something like an Office tools. Education, we have a timer. Finance, nothing. Games, nothing. Graphics, Harvey's back. We have photos, we have palette, nothing in here to actually edit photos. We have internet, we have torrent, Iridium, mail, GNOME, web. Math, engineering, science, calculator, and advanced calculator. Media production, nothing. Office, Badger, Calendar, Events, Odin, Tasks, and Typewriter. And the typewriter is a minimal writer with autosave, basically text pad. System, Universal Access, Video, Writing and Language. That is it. That is all we have. Every instance of installing an application that is not on this system will give you the warning sign. But it begs the question, how do you install anything? Well, you actually, and somebody actually asked this question just today, and it wasn't me. They said, the App Center is very empty inside of Elementary OS 6. They're like, well, it's very easy. You head on over to FlatHub and install something, and that will automatically install the FlatHub repository. And so that's really your solution. There is no way to go into the App Center and say, or in the settings and say, let's add FlatHub. Let's manage the repositories. Let's add some other repository. I have exactly one option, and that is to, well, I mean, I guess maybe two. I can go into the terminal if you know how to add FlatHub to the Flatpak repository in the terminal. You can do that for sure. Not exactly a user-friendly option. Or you can head on over to FlatHub. You can install any random Flatpak, and the process of installing a Flatpak is going to automatically add FlatHub to the repository inside of the App Center. So you pick any random app, you click the install button, and then this is going to download the installer here. Just give it a second to download the installer. You can see it's trying. The internet's a little slow right now because we're streaming and battling a thunderstorm for bandwidth right now. And so what it's going to do is it's going to give us the download option. So there's our option. We click on this guy here, and then it tells us install this untrusted app. Everything, whether some weird thing you've never heard of to long-running apps like VLC and GIMP and LibreOffice, will all tell you this exact thing. It's going to fetch details, and then this is going to bring us to our second major problem with a Flatpak-only system. I hunted and hunted and hunted for the smallest Flatpak that I could find, and the smallest one I could find was 850 megabytes. I am on a very limited connection. You can see this one here. This download size may be up to 864 megabytes. Every single Flatpak you're going to want to install, and you're going to want to install a lot because they don't have anything here, you're going to be spending gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of data to install things that on a basic repository is going to be very simple. Now, updates will not be reviewed. Other apps and distributors may appear. Download size may be large. It has not been reviewed. You have to understand this and install. Now, I'm on a very metered connection. I know you guys over in like EU and stuff that have unlimited internet for $20 are going to absolutely laugh at my 150 gigabytes for $150. But that's what I'm stuck with. I cannot go into my system and spend 30 gigabytes to install, the few applications that I need to make this thing work. But once we do this, it's just going to automatically add FlatHub. Now, it's not automatically there. You're going to have to shut down the system and restart it. So let's go ahead and we're going to shut this system down, and I'm going to go ahead and restart the system on my original test build where I actually did install something, because I am not downloading another 800 megabyte thing right now just to show you that it installs FlatHub. You're going to have to take my word for it. So let's go ahead and have a look at this one here. This is the one I've already worked with. So we will actually have all of the other repository for FlatHub in here. And this is going to show you what I'm talking about. Silence for editing purposes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get logged on in here to Elementary. And once we land on the desktop, we can now open up the App Center. And now that we have installed, and the smallest thing that I found was core stats, and we will also notice that core stats, unless something has changed in the last 2 hours, core stats does not honor my default theme. So yay, we have a nice bright white theme despite I've selected dark theming. Sure, I could go with this tweak tool if it exists. No elementary tweaks. People were telling me in the comments to install the elementary tweaks. Well, the problem is it's so difficult to get the elementary tweaks because every time somebody figures it out, well then, now we can do that. So now if I go into Office, you can see that the ones up top are the trusted, and then these are the non-curated. Be like, okay, non-curated, that's just fine. Let's look at GNU Cache. There's a long-running thing. We click on GNU Cache, click on your free, and now we get our warning sign again. It's not curated by elementary, has not been reviewed for security, privacy, or system integration. It may not receive bug fixes. It may access or change system or personal files without permission. This is absolute 100% garbage because these apps have a longer running track record than elementary itself. To sit back and provide a warning on a Flatpak that's supposed to be isolated is absolute garbage. This is why I cannot recommend elementary. We install this brand new system. Oh, it's so accessible, so inclusive that we can install this application or this new operating system. Wow, it looks beautiful. You just can't do jack with it. Nothing. You cannot go into elementary OS and install a word processing application without going through a warning about this is untrusted. This might damage your system. Ooh, this is a scary application. This is so overhyped. It is inconceivable. Elementary is off to a good start. But they need to start respecting the open source community that has given them a platform by stopping with these nonsense warnings about applications with a long-running platform and trust. This is nonsense. This is why I cannot recommend elementary. It looks beautiful out of the box with the shiny new thing that you can't do anything with because it doesn't provide word processing. It doesn't provide a way to edit audio. It doesn't provide a way to edit a video. It does not provide a way to edit images. You have nothing except their core little curated apps. Sure, you can install extra things. Going through the scary warnings. Now, if you're a seasoned Linux guy, you know, it's a bunch of nonsense. But now you start looking at this. If you're new Linux, you go, oh, I don't know. I can't install that. Your old hat, you're like, what are you doing? You're alienating both bases. On top of this, your App Center, despite being Flatpak based, has no way to adjust the repositories. No way to open up some setting and say, these are the Flatpak repositories you've allowed. Add these, none of these. How about, hey, I trust things from FlatHub. I may not trust things for some other weird repository I found somewhere on the internet, but if I can say, okay, I trust FlatHub, stop giving me warnings on FlatHub applications when you're making a big deal about everything is Flatpak for security and isolation purposes. This feels to me so incomplete, and it feels to me so weird and thrown out there. I can't tell what elementary is doing. Am I wrong in this? Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like absolute horrible, burn it with fire. But it feels like it's an incomplete system. I get what they're trying to do, but I think that they failed at the mark miserably. They put spit and polish in their curated applications that you can't be productive with. Everything else, their solution is, well, it's up to the app developers to support our theme changes. Yeah, I'm going to support theme changes for a distribution that half the people using a small operating system don't even like. That's how insane this is. But they're trying to be Apple. And, we're trying to be the Apple of Linux, therefore. That's what my thought is. Let me know, am I completely wrong about this? Or is this overhyped? Or is this just absolutely amazing and I'm just too deaf, dumb, and blind to see? Let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. All right, there we go. I tipped my hand a little too much in that video. Absolutely. Shut this guy down. Shut this guy down. All right, and have a look at our comments. Hopefully I marked where I was. Oh, I think I did. Let's see. I'll go there. Pop or Zoran. Absolutely. Front page of elementary website is a bit scummy, making people think they need to pay for download. Just pre-record. There's an option. Okay, if you guys just jumped on, weekly news roundup this week, we either need to pre-record and premiere it, or we need to do it live much earlier in the day. Let me know your individual thoughts. Elementary uses Pac-Man. No, elementary should use apt. Time zone are you talking about? I am in the Eastern time zone, so it'd be like between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock Eastern time zone. Restreaming, just so I know your time zone's release, we will follow. All right. Okay. It's amazing. All right. Elementary really has a, stiffy for Mac OS look. Yeah, of course. Yep. Always remove Redshift. Don't ever use those apps. If anything puts more stress on your eyes, probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. We do live in a backwards world, yeah. All right. It's more of a classic Mac OS, which is better in my view. Seems to be limited, especially now that they're doing what Ubuntu does with the Flatpaks instead, forcing them. I mean, hey, at least Ubuntu puts a repository for snaps in their system. There's applications in the App Center. Why use anything based on Ubuntu at this point? Companies like Valve have shown Arch much. Yeah, that's a good, valid question. Flatpak instead, since it means you have control over it. Yeah, I definitely like the Flatpak model over the Snap model. Absolutely, that's where Elementary is doing it better. Making their own repositories for Arch. It seems so. It's technically going to be Arch, or maybe. They mentioned in Twitter that they are waiting on the package developers to update their apps for Elementary OS 6. They're making it so it's auto-added for future releases. Interesting. Well, that would be neat. Store is useless. That is my current assessment. Everyone wants bleeding-edge stuff. All Valve has shown is that Arch is what they consider to be the most usable for their case, which makes sense in gaming. Okay. Remember Elementary OS having a lot more stuff in its store. Yeah, they used to at least have the Ubuntu repository in there, and they would give you the warning on the Ubuntu repository, but that stuff's too old. Let's get it out of there. Because Ubuntu is neglecting its repositories, and they're neglecting its repositories because they're focusing so much on the snap, and this is actually damaging Linux down the road because the repositories are not being up to date. So everything downstream of Ubuntu is going to have some problems. And some hipsters are going to be like, it's minimalist. It's so minimalist, he can't get anything done. Look at my minimalist white room without a table or a desk. Okay, Linux back in the 90s. Not much stuff available because it's not curated. Yeah. Manjaro is not bleeding edge, holds back updates till they are vetted. Yeah. Manjaro is based on Arch. It's Arch with a little bit of a pause before stuff's pushed out. Kept using terminal because nothing was even there when he did a search. Yes. Being rolling release doesn't mean it's bleeding edge too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Dinky label in the welcome screen linking to FlatHub. Yes, there is. What happened to everything on Elementary OS? So remember more stuff on it. Yeah, because they got rid of all of the Ubuntu repositories, and then they got rid of the Ubuntu repositories and just went with only their personally curated apps from their Flatpak repository. Unless they've changed something, Elementary did at one point in time cripple the ability to install .deb files. I'm not sure if that's still the case or not. Mint has Debian Edition, makes it a breeze to use. Elementary is not usable. They hit Ubuntu stuff. Yeah, that's because they went with Flatpak instead of Snap, which I support that. That's not bad. Oh, so overhyped they barely bring anything new to the table. Well, they brought stuff to the table that's new for them and said this is innovation, and that's a big problem. Too much sense in elementary given how behind it is. Apps need to respect the dark theme setting, basically. Yes. And so they're basically putting it on the impetus of that, but I found that I've not had these issues on, Mint or other places. I've not seemed to notice that. Developer renamed it to Pantheon Tweaks. Well, I just searched for tweaks and didn't find anything. Don't mind leaving the EOS ecosystem. You can sudo apt install software properties common, Ubuntu restricted, and get Ubuntu repos. Yes. Package manager do prefer. I don't really care what package manager I'm using. If I'm on Arch, I use Pacman or Yay. If I'm on, anything else, it's usually apt unless they are running something else. So don't really care about package managers. Pantheon's worse than GNOME because GNOME at least you can add extensions. Yes. Elementary, I'd not even on my radar. Still using Arch, updating every month or so or less. Yeah. Maybe a while before the App Center third-party devs update their packages to 6. Yeah. Regular OSs are completely unfair to newbies. Distros are so exclusive these days that even Pop! OS starts and stops the new user in their learning curve. Well, Linux Experiment really loves Elementary OS 6. He did a glowing review of it. He completely passed over the entire discussion on the fact that there's no apps in it. Just saying, just install something from FlatHub. It'll automatically add it to the repository. And then he had one sentence about the App Center in it while he did glowing reviews on everything else. Burn Elementary with fire. I don't know about burning it with fire. I'm just not going to use it. Can you still download version 5? Maybe. I don't know. 3 years to release a new version of this. Let's see how Zorn will manage because it's taking even more. 2204 LTS coming and nothing from Zorn. Yeah, and it is based on the 2004 LTS. To be frank, Elementary OS's dark mode theming is the same thing as what GNOME is looking to add. How exciting. Okay, Apple of Linux is Cute Fish Manjaro. Okay. Being disappointed. The curated apps are not even available fully. Eddie isn't there. How to install GDEB for installing Chrome. Yeah. Whereas Pop! OS makes it seemingly logical changes, Elementary is just a mystery. I would agree. Pop! OS was like, man, they're actually adding weird, neat, innovative stuff. That's just kind of cool. Elementary is like, hey, y'all, watch this. Wait. Didn't Ubuntu put that in 5 years ago? Yeah, man, but it's new to us. Need to use the terminal, just get programs making distros not user-friendly at all. Looks good except everything else. Sudo apt install, why software properties common, software issues solved. Yeah. New bro, agree with 100%. Switch to Linux. Greetings from Europe, Croatia. Well, greetings, Fox Forest. How are you? Pantheon Tweaks is much better tweak software than Elementary Tweaks. Snaps were a bad idea. 96% of us did not like them right from the start. I agree. Manjaro vetting stuff. Yeah, I mean, some would argue they don't. These Pop! OS ships, Eddie. There you go. Problem with Ubuntu-based distros. They will solve the problem with Ubuntu not supporting the repo. Whew. We actually dropped another degree. It's getting cooler in here. Fair and overall says forces dark themes on their applications against developers. Well, yeah, true. So I talked about in Manjaro, there's the one application I'm using on my Raspberry Pi that dark theme sucks so bad. I explicitly set that application run light themed despite everything else is dark themed. Vala only used in OS. Yay to app comparison guide. Don't update something on Arch. A new update comes. Does the update change to the new one, or does it have to do the update? Yeah, it will, whatever the most recent one is. Find elementary tweaks. Because it's not available in the Ubuntu repositories, nor Flatpak, nor repos, you'll need to add a PPA. But it doesn't come with PPA support. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You need to add PPA support in order to add a tweak tool to make the thing somewhat usable. Hopped a lot trying to find my Windows replacement set on Pop! OS. Having said that, there's a number of really good distros out there. Mint, Manjaro, KDE, Neon. Absolutely, yeah. Distros remove PPA support to prevent people installing PPAs that go redundant. Well, that is true. They can go redundant, but there's also a point in time you might need PPAs that aren't going to go redundant for new software that you might need, like, you know, a tweak tool to add a minimize button to your applications. At least those new gestures are pretty good, pretty cool for laptop users. Yes, the new gestures are pretty good. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. Move the kitty cam here. See if we've hit the bottom of the comments. Let's go ahead and feed the beasts. No, stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Oh, you dropped one. There you go. He's like, I want my kitty treats. You get one more. My kitty treat. Yeah. Those are good kitty treats, aren't they? They're good kitty treats, huh? That's all you get. That's all you get. Stay there, kitty cat. He's like, but it's my kitty treats. Oh, I've got another one down there. Oh, where's she at? There you are. Yeah. All right, what do we got? There are emojis OS. I don't know. All right. Just use the terminal, set a title bar button. New ISO comes with hype. They focus on one desktop to save time and energy. App Center under Flatpak, but now they will manage for terminal. Okay. Dark mode's accessible from system settings already. Yeah. With Pantheon tweaks, you can force dark mode on apps. So one app didn't change to dark, you'd be on. All right. Jaro was a bad idea from the start. Why would they hold certain repos while letting the AUR run loose? That's a good question. Hey guys, watch this. A minimize button to title bars in elementary OS is just one G setting command, really. Yep. Yeah, that's something else they did. Did you look for some channels? Talk for Elementary is good. It was so much smiling. Did you look some channels? Talk for Elementary. I watched the Linux Experiments video. I thought Tech Hut might have done one as well. I couldn't remember, and I didn't see it right away. But I did watch Linux Experiments. So if you want a good, really super positive review, have a look at his. He's, of course, an Elementary fanboy. I'm in Elementary, never really cared for this distribution. I don't hate it. I just don't think it's good. And so if you want the opposing opinion, that would be it. Linux Experiment. Elementary is bad, but it hasn't changed much in years. My daily driver 2015 still looks mostly the same, yeah. I had emoji fonts to cinnamon. I don't know. I can't stand emojis, so I never looked into it. People really loving the update, and some really hated it. Well, Elementary OS is always very, very polarizing. One from DistroTube 2, he seemed to have mixed feelings about it. Yeah, Elementary OS, every time I do Elementary OS, they have like 50-50 reviews, because you either absolutely love Elementary so much that you're going to dislike anything that's remotely critical, or you don't care about it and you're just like, yeah, whatever. So absolutely, that's it. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up here. I'm going to turn the fans back on again. Actually, I need to clean the fan. There's a bug in there, and his foot/wing is beating against the side of the fan blade. I got to get the bug out. So anyway, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Weekly news roundup. We'll figure out maybe tomorrow whether we will pre-record or do an early stream. I only got one person said something about it, so guys, let me know in the comments. I was laughing so hard. He's misleading so many people who are new to Linux. I agree. I think if you give Elementary OS to somebody new with Linux, they're going to have a really bad experience. I think that, and that's really the important part. That's the important part. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys. We should be doing a supporters stream tomorrow, so let me know.